We are excited that you are here with us today. You have a wonderful opportunity to hear some of our team members so they can share their stories of how they fell in love with senior living. And we're very happy to have in our presence Dr. James Rauch, career coach, who will inspire us. But first, I would like to share my story. I'm lucky that I'm from a very close family and a very large family, and my grandparents were very present, always at family gatherings and very close. I love to take care of others, and it is because of that that I was drawn to healthcare, working early on at the hospital in high school and college. While in college, I realized that I wanted to be in a position where I could have direct influence over how seniors were cared for and quality of life. So with that, I completed my master's in healthcare administration, specifically in long-term care. And I've been very, very fortunate to be doing just that for the last 31 years. I've had the experience of operating skilled nursing and long-term care nursing as a nursing home administrator, working in continuing care retirement communities, assisted living, and memory care. I love what I do because each day it gives me the opportunity to help others that may need some support and in a need of a different situation. I have the opportunity to be with a loving team. I love our team, and I really love the diversity of our team. I love how we all come together for one goal, and that's the goal to take care of the resident and their family. I love Kensington Senior Living, though, because like our family, it's our mission, just like mine, and that matters to me. So I treat all of our residents, our team, and families like they're my family. Thank you. It is my pleasure, really, to formally introduce Dr. James Rauch, who has been studying and living the lifestyle of extraordinary leadership for over 33 years. Through the leading edge ideas, practical life strategies, and superior products, Dr. James's mission is to help others create a meaningful life that they love. He has authored 11 books and counting, including the award-winning Colorado Fit Kitchen and the most recently released Think, Eat, Move, Thrive, The Practice for an Awesome Life, co-authored with his wife, Dr. Deborah Rouse. Please welcome Dr. James Rouse.
Hi, Mary. So good to have you be the introducer. I was loving listening to the story about your family, and I love that you use the word love so many times. I want to let you know I love you for what you do, Mary, and I love this community. Tonight is going to be something, this afternoon, if you're in the West Coast, I really would love to begin this evening with what Mary was helping us all to kind of bring into our hearts before we begin. There's no question, the world right now, I was reading a study this morning where it was saying that right here in this country today, 67% of us, nearly 70% of us in the US, experience something called overwhelming stress every single day. Overwhelming stress. And I've been honored to be a part of the Kensington community for close to 3 years, working with people like Mary and Susan and Taylor. And the thing that I want tonight to be for all of you who are tuning in and taking the time to be a part of this community this evening, I would love for you just now to begin doing a simple practice that I often do with my patients. I would love for you just to take a moment and just maybe think about someone that you love. Someone that is here with you, possibly presently, or someone who has passed on, but someone you say, oh my gosh, the first person I thought of was this person. And maybe just for a moment, just think about that person. And as you're thinking about that person, maybe you're picturing their face, picturing a memory, and really let that person kind of settle into your heart. What I've learned from people like Mary and the guests that you're going to meet this evening, just an amazing team of humans who have really decided to let love lead their life. I've had the honor of working in family medicine for over 30 years in something called integrative family medicine, integrative psychiatry. and working a lot with seniors. And when you pictured that person just a moment ago, something was happening to you physiologically. It was a release of a hormone called oxytocin. You've probably heard of oxytocin. It's often called the love hormone. You know, it happens when we hug people, happens when we think of a person that we love. And there's one thing I know that I have learned being here at Kensington. Every time I'm with Kensington, doing an event, getting a chance to talk with people like Mary, Susan, Taylor, Connor, the whole team, my oxytocin levels just rise. I feel love. I feel possible. I feel hopeful. So tonight you're going to have an opportunity to feel that sense of hope that I feel every time I'm with these amazing humans, these incredible people who have dedicated opening their hearts to taking care of people who are an honor to take care of. You know, there was a study that was recently published. It was all about what's happening over the last 80 years with a group of researchers, physicians, and scientists at Harvard. And what they've been doing over 80 years now has been studying what they believe is the most powerful predictor of longevity and happiness. And of course, over 80 years, these are all Harvard graduates. There's things that they look at like, well, do they create a life of distinction? Do they have an important job? Do they become famous? Did they make a lot of money? And all of those things, you know, they did show up to be somewhat beneficial. But guess what? The most important thing that they knew after 80 years of this study, it was all about meaningful relationships. And they went on to define meaningful as a day-to-day interaction with somebody who made you feel possible, made you feel hopeful, made you feel love. I think that Harvard study could have been done at Kensington. I think that study is representative of what Kensington is all about. You're going to learn tonight through our incredible guests, people who take care of beautiful people every single day, and why they were drawn to senior living. You heard Mary's story, and now you're going to hear from 4 incredible people who I'm getting to know. And I'm just going to say, I love these 4 people. I love what they do every single day. I love how they show up. I love how they make my oxytocin levels rise. So I'm going to welcome in Quinn Estrada, who's the Falls Church Memory Care Supervisor and Executive Director in Training. Harris Alec, who's the concierge at Kensington Place, Redwood City. Caroline Seitsinger, who's a board-certified music therapist at the Kensington Reston. And Ricardo Ramos, who's a dining coordinator at Kensington Place, Redwood City. Hi, everybody. So good to see
Hi,
you.
Dr. James.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good, thank you. And you?
I'm doing awesome. You guys look fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you. So do you.
Thank you. You know, I want just to begin with, I shared something a moment ago about the hormone oxytocin. And I'm sure when I was sharing about how oxytocin is produced, and you know, it's when you're having an interaction with someone who makes your heart open up, someone who makes you laugh, someone who may move you to tears because you're witnessing something true life and beautiful. You know, I wanted to open up tonight by letting you know that when people are sharing this evening, when the 4 of you getting an opportunity to walk people through who are maybe thinking about senior living as a path and career, something they're curious about, they want to learn more, I just want to say to the 4 of you before we begin, thank you. Thank you for showing up heart first. Thank you for being hopeful. And I love to say, now that I've got a chance to know the 4 of you, I told my wife that the 4 of you make me feel like you guys are pollinators. You guys pollinate. You go around each and to every human being that you have the blessing of laying eyes on. You pollinate those people with hope and with love and with care. And I know in turn, their families get an opportunity to experience that through your care. So I just want to let you know how much I love and appreciate the 4 of you for what you do. So thank you.
Oh.
So I think the best question I can open up with, and this is perfect for, I'd love all 4 of you to answer this. And you know, maybe you can start, Harris, because your shirt is awesome, and I want to have you start.
Thank you.
And then we can go on to Caroline, and then from there, Ricardo and Quinn. This is an easy question because I know it's going to be something you're going to go, oh my gosh, right out of the gate, this is perfect. What brought you into senior living to get started with, Harris?
Yeah, so I knew when I was going to college that I wanted to do something that was meaningful and giving back to the people around me and the people that came before me. So after I graduated college, I was looking around for a job, and my friend Anya, who's the director of sales and marketing here at Kensington Place in Redwood City, she thought I would be a great fit for the Kensington community. So I applied for the job and I started as an activities assistant in the Haven community, which is for residents that are in the mid to late stages of dementia. And after a year, I made my way to the concierge team. And about 9 months into that, I was promoted to the lead. And now I'm just passed in March, my second year at Kensington.
Wow, congratulations. And
Yeah.
you've been promoted steadily over the last couple of years.
Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to put my best foot forward, and I was really grateful that the people around me and that, the community saw the effort that I was putting in, and that, it was rewarded and I felt rewarded. So, and it was also an internal feeling that was just really fulfilling.
That's fabulous, Harris. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Hi, Caroline.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm so curious. You're a music therapist. So you're a professional music therapist. How did you get brought into, or how were you led to senior living with that incredible background?
Yeah, so actually, one of my close friends that I did my music therapy internship with worked at Kensington Park. And when they had another opening at Kensington Park for another music therapist, she immediately reached out and she said, I think you'd be a great fit. And her name is Kyla. She always was bragging on her residents and how much fun she got to have in her music therapy groups. So I applied and I got started pretty quickly from there doing music therapy and activities in our assisted living building. And then I was there for about a year and a half. And once the Reston building started opening up, I made the transition over there and became the assisted living activity coordinator. This is a long, there's a bunch of jumps, but from there I went to the memory care activity coordinator so that I could kind of get to know the residents up there a little better and start our music therapy program here at Reston.
Wow, congratulations. So what you kind of just walked us through, and it was really awesome because for people who are maybe watching and they're saying, well, I don't have a professional background in music therapy. I wonder if I could begin. And like listening to Harris and listening to you, a love for seniors, a love for caring is the place to begin. And kind of how Kensington will help you navigate and potentially find the place that you would love to ultimately land, and then the opportunities to continually grow within Kensington.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, they definitely helped me find more of what I was looking for along the way.
Beautiful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hi, Ricardo.
Hi, Dr. James. How are you?
I am
Hi,
awesome.
everybody.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking.
I am really excited because one of my very dearest friends in the whole world, Susan, who is part of the team with Kensington, she was telling me you make a killer sandwich. And so I want to know, were you always just in the area of wanting to make awesome food and delicious food and healthy food? And how did you find, with your passion for food, to want to be drawn and now be a part of the Kensington community?
I was talking last time with Susan, and I was telling her the story how I actually became part of the Kensington family. And she looked at me, she was like, this is not what I expected, because the first time I took a step into Kensington, I brought in a friend to do a job application. It was kind of spontaneous. So she filled up the application. And while I was waiting in the lobby, I met with Tony, which is now our chef. And he looked at me, and I was talking to some of the residents. We were having a good time. And then he looked at me and he said, "Do you want a job?" He said, "I'm looking for people to work here. And you seem like a great person, to interact with them." And I said, "Well, I do need a job." I was like, because at that time I was still going to college and having my associate's degrees in early child development. And then in the back of my head, I said, why not give it a try? Almost 7 years later, I'm here and I love what I do. I love my residents. I just love watching them smile when food, I think everybody loves food. So when you see a plate of food, and it's a joy to be with the Kensington family.
Oh my gosh, Ricardo, what a heart. I didn't know that either. Like you were here with a friend, like, I'm just going to be a support to a friend. They're going to fill out the application. I'm just going to be here supporting your friend. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, why not? I'm going to go ahead and fill it out. And 7 years later, here you are. It's your career.
It's a career, that's right. And it's something that I love to do.
Well, your energy is palpable, and I love that you said, who doesn't love wonderful food? But I think it's so much about having food prepared with love, and that is what I know you are absolutely all about. So thank you for being who you are, and thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you for inviting me.
Quinn, how are you?
I'm doing great, Dr. James. How about yourself?
I'm doing so. Listen, number one, I'm humbled and grateful to be here. And I'm really excited to hear about your story. It's really interesting how you found your way here. And, senior living, was that something that was on your radar before you got here? Or did all of a sudden you're like, I guess this is my path and I'm just grateful that I found it?
Yeah, kind of. I actually was in nursing school in Texas and we moved up here, and I have had at the time 4 kids under the age of 8 and applied to Mason and didn't get into their nursing program because my science courses were too old. And so my advisor said, why don't you look at health administration? I said, okay, and ended up taking like a business strategic course. And the professor also worked in assisted living, and the passion and just joy that he talked about assisted living made me want to find out more about it. So I took another course and did my internship in that. And then 5 years later, I'm doing what I'm doing and loving it.
So wait a second. Wait, you have 4 kids?
I have 4 kids, yes.
Oh my God. So, okay, because I'm going to ask the question that everyone who's watching is going to, how did you manage nursing school and then that's already a feat as a mother of 4, and then integrating into Kensington and promoting the way you have been and continually rising up in the company? How do you keep the balance in all of that?
That is one thing that I would say about Kensington Senior Living is they're very supportive, not just for you professionally, but also personally. So anytime you need to do something with your family, there's something going on, they're so supportive, and just there, my executive director is amazing. And she has been there for me during some difficult times, as a family, and supported me and helped guide me and just walk through those times with me. So even through the good times, they're not just there for you when bad things are happening. They're there to support you in whatever you are going through.
It's interesting, Quinn, the way you shared that. I was reading Wall Street Journal a couple of weeks ago was talking about why so many people are leaving their jobs or if you will, leaving one job to go to another place to work. And there's 2 things that drive that. Number one is culture. Number one, people want agency in their life. They want to feel like they have the autonomy as well as the community supporting them to have the life that they have chosen, that the work becomes complementary to that. And it sounds like that's exactly what you have here at Kensington.
Absolutely.
And then the second thing is the ability to grow. And it sounds like you are continual, like so many here that I meet at Kensington, continual opportunities to grow professionally.
Yes, they are definitely want you to continue to grow. They want you, I started off as the assisted living activities coordinator. able to go to assisted living supervisor, and now I'm the memory care supervisor. So the growth and the experience that I've had within Kensington is amazing.
Congratulations, Quinn, for everything. As a mom, as a professional, as a nurse, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Harris, this is a good question for you because I'm super curious. I know about concierge, I understand sort of what that job entails, but what is it like to be a concierge at Kensington? What's a day in the life like?
Yeah. I like to say that we wear many hats at the front desk at the concierge team. A typical day looks like, just making sure that the calendar looks right, that everyone, all the staff, all the residents are up to date on the information, and making sure that, when someone's calling or someone walks in, that I greet them, respectfully, politely, and with a smile, and making sure that they feel welcome, and, get them signed in and make sure everything is just a pleasant, seamless experience for them. And, I'm answering the phone, I'm, welcoming people in. And my personal favorite part is when residents come to visit me. The sofa that's right across my front desk is famous for being too comfortable and very inviting, and residents love to take a nap there. I've had so many wonderful conversations with residents and learned so much about them on that sofa up there. And it's an amazing experience every day. You learn something new about somebody and you meet new people all the time. And that's just something that I love to do. And that's why I enjoy my time at Kensington.
It almost sounds like, Harris, that there's no real typical day because there's so many cool things, different things you get a chance to do every day, but there's certain consistencies. And gosh, I love the visual of the couch. I mean, that to me is almost a metaphor, right? Like the comfort of a couch. We all know what that means to us to get home and have a couch to, recline into, cuddle up with. And I can only imagine like how just your energy, what it must like for residents and family members to sit on that couch with you and just get a chance to connect and feel the comfort, because that is a metaphor, but it's also something everyone needs, a place to retreat to.
Yeah. Kensington is a home for many people, and I want people to feel like they're walking into their own home, that this is their couch, their sofa. I'm not just a staff member, I'm their friend, I'm a loved one, and I want everyone to feel that experience.
You are a beautiful human. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Caroline, so music therapy, typical day in the life. Are you playing music all day? What are you doing?
A good portion of the day, yeah. So because I am the memory care activity coordinator too, I kind of get to divide up my day between doing the activities and doing music, and sometimes those things intertwine. So at all the Kensingtons, they do some kind of exercise every day with their residents. And then just depending on the group you have, kind of depends on what they like doing. So the group I have right now, they love doing like word games, brain games. They love music. They do a sing-along, usually in the morning, almost every day, just to get their day started with something happy and joyful. What else? Baking. And they also just like to chat with each other. So I get to be a part of that. I like to brag to other people that my job is doing the fun and games all day.
I have a quick...
music. Oh, I'm sorry. Go
ahead. No, I was just going to say, I have a quick question, because what you just shared about the morning being a time with sing-alongs. Is there ever a time, because I was reading a study about this morning, how people who get a chance to listen to a love song or one of their favorite songs that they're associating with, like maybe their wedding song or a dance with one of their first girlfriends or boyfriends. Have you ever had that come up as just part, like, oh, this, can you play this song? Because there's a lot of research out there that speaks to a love song and a memory experience for people and how much joy that brings us, no matter if we're a part of the Kensington community as a resident or folks in the family and just folks tuning in right now. It's so awesome to think about love songs, what they do for our brain.
Yeah, for sure. So that happens pretty consistently. Yeah. So I'll have people tell me after playing a song, oh, that was the song that my mom used to sing to me,
Mm.
or that was the song that we used to sing in the car on road trips. And it's so cool to be able to use music kind of as a tool to learn more about the residents in a way that you probably wouldn't get to. It's really special.
That's so powerful. And when you get a chance to witness that, when someone is recalling something like that was the song they used to sing on their way to church, or the song that they think about with, high school dance. I mean, those are things that they're not only beautiful memories, but they're therapeutically powerful for people.
For sure, especially because you can then kind of take that moment and just ask them more about their family or their church life or whatever it is it reminded them of.
That's beautiful. Thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Hey, Ricardo. Okay, so typical day for you preparing awesome sandwiches for Susan and the residents. Tell us more about that.
So not just for Susan, for everybody that walks in and through our doors. So my typical day starts at 11 in the morning, Pacific time for those who are in the other time zones. And it starts off by me checking in with, we call it kind of crossover. And it's me checking in with either my chef or my sous chef, which is Elena or Tony, two amazing, beautiful people if you have not met them yet. And, we check in to see if we have any events or if we have any, if activities have anything going on for that day. And after that, I kind of walk in, making sure that the dining room looks nice and prestige for any family members or even for our residents, that walked in there. Other than that, I go and I greet my residents. There's some residents that if I don't say good morning to them, they get kind of grumpy with me throughout the day. And I just, go to the activity room and I greet or whatever, I see whatever they're doing. Sometimes we do have a musical therapist in there in the house, and, they're singing and they're dancing, or if they're just, playing a board game, I just sit with them and then automatically their heads goes, ooh, I see food, and they start telling me, oh, I want this for lunch. I want this for lunch, or I want this for the snack. But typically, just kind of check in with everybody, making sure that they're okay, and then making sure that our day goes nice and smooth for everybody.
Ricardo, I can tell that you are someone who probably has many times you've got to know a resident, and maybe there wasn't something in your repertoire of food preparation, but it was something they really loved, or their family said, this is something they really love. Did you just find a way to kind of learn how to make it, incorporate that into your offering?
Of course, we always try to accommodate to our residents because, as a human beings, they have a choice and they still have some dignity going on. And then we love to respect that because, they're not just objects for us. They're humans that they still can speak. They can still have a choice of their life. So yes, anytime they have requests, we meet their requests. And even though sometimes there are a lot of challenges going on, but we still find a way.
Thank you. Thank you for the heart that you have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Quinn, I can only imagine there's no such thing as a typical day for you. So can you kind of give me an overview of James, and everyone here is tuned in tonight. What would, when you're walking through your day, from a Monday to a Thursday, how many different things could you be experiencing?
A lot. I would say the biggest thing that I try to do every morning is go check in with all the care partners and the team, check in with the residents, see how everybody's starting their day, see how everybody's doing, if there's anything that we need to look at and make sure we address quickly. Then I get with my director, meet with her. Sometimes it may not be until 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon that we actually get to connect. But sometimes we try to do it before she even goes to stand up. I am trying to even think. Today was a day where it was kind of quiet. And that's not a typical word that you like to use because then you've jinxed yourself. But it was a good day today. So I was able to get some paperwork done, which I'm typically not able to do until like the end of the day because usually there's other things that I'm taking care of. So today was probably not a typical day, actually.
Well, and I think you just described perfectly what the Wall Street Journal is saying about what people are looking for. Something that every day there's a challenge, but there's also the autonomy to kind of create the day that you'd like to as much as you possibly can with autonomy. And it also sounds like for you that given the fact that you've grown so, up that term, climbing the ladder doesn't really apply because it seems like you've had a chance to try things over here and having the nursing background and having these other experiences, you've had a chance to go into all these different places within the Kensington community and always have an opportunity to have that autonomy to choose where you'd like to be, bringing your gifts and talents to choose how that could show up for the residents.
Yeah, and the relationships that you get to build with the residents, like that is a constant. I think that is probably the most constant thing out of your day. You are always interacting with the residents. You're building relationships and the trust and just that love, like you said. There's that love, and I think it's a mutual love between both sides.
I really appreciate that, Quinn, because we began tonight. We were talking about that Harvard study that talked about the interesting thing about the study is how they titled it. It's called the Very Happy People Study, and it correlates obviously with longevity and health and wellness. But ultimately, what you just described is what that study said. It's about the meaningful, loving interactions that we can have in our lifetime, but intentionally creating them. So we have them throughout our day, throughout our life. That was the number one barometer for a life well lived, according to Harvard. So, I mean, Quinn, you just gave us the overview of what Harvard probably spent a lot of time and energy trying to figure out. You just did it for us.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So we talked a moment ago about the whole idea of how when we're looking for work today, we're looking for meaningful careers. What we know from science and research, it really speaks to how do people feel like the place that they are is supporting both their personal life as well as their career life. Harris, how has Kensington given you the opportunity to really have, and I don't think there's such a thing as work-life balance anymore. I think that's gone. I think those two are just completely integrated. But for you, how have you seen Kensington support the fact that you have your full personal life, but you're also growing here professionally? Does Kensington find a way to help you to do that?
Yeah, they are always understanding of, what we have going on personally and professionally. And I really appreciate the support from all departments and all of the department heads to really let me grow and let me flourish within Kensington and to give me that opportunity to utilize my skills and my knowledge to give back to my community and really just provide support for people who need it, whether it's the residents, their loved ones, or just, directing a nurse, which suite to go to see a resident, and just being able to be that bridge for, the outside world to our, community is just, it's very fulfilling for me. And I really enjoy being able to do that, and with a smile and making that connection and that, extra conversation that you have with a resident or their family member, just to build that sense of trust and, friendship, so that, whether they live 3 hours away or 3 minutes away, they feel like they're just walking into their home. They're not, visiting, they're not going somewhere else, they're going home.
That's a very powerful visual that you just gave us. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Quinn, so you already kind of shared with all of us that you're a mom of 4 and about how you balance that. I want to ask you a specific question, like when your kids have events, whether it's sports or, music or, just kids stuff, and something important comes up, and you also have an incredibly busy professional life at Kensington. How does that work? And does that work for you?
It does. I think probably the most recent example I can think of is when my daughter, actually, she graduated this past June. And so she had prom, she had graduation, and everything fell on a day that I was still working. So it was like, hey, I need this day off. And, it was probably a good 3 Saturdays in a row where I was like, I need these days off. And they were like, absolutely, go do what you need to do. Or if you need to leave early because you have an event to get to for your child or for a loved one, they are actually really good about saying, hey, remember, you said you need to go, you need to get out the door. So they encourage you to leave, even though you feel like you still, oh, wait a second, I still had this one thing I needed to do. But they say, nope, you can do that tomorrow. Go home.
That is probably, when I think about patients that I've worked with, and as a dad, that's one of the greatest stressors, isn't it? Like something's coming that's very important. You love your job. You're wondering how, and sometimes we don't want to even like broach the subject because we don't want, it's stressful to say, hey, next Saturday I have this thing coming up, and we want to avoid it until we're like, oh my gosh, all this anxiety is building up. And then you finally say, okay, I've got to finally do this. I need this day off. It sounds like that's not an issue for you. You're like, hey, this is my life. This is what's happening. And they support you.
They do. Yes.
I love that. So anyone who's watching, you're going, oh my gosh, that's not my situation. Or I know I'm getting ready to have a family and that is something that I want to be able to do. That's one of the things that Kensington's taught me, is that they really do prioritize, is what you're hearing, that they understand that the way that they can support the residents is by people who work here are happy and feeling that their whole life is integrated into what they're doing, as Harris was saying and Quinn was sharing. Ricardo, how about for you? Number one, I'm kind of curious. When you get home, do you have to cook there too, or do you get time off when you get home, or is that are you so? I know it's probably cliche to ask that, but I mean, do you do that when you get home too? And how do you balance personal and professional?
I don't cook at home. So at home, I say I don't know anything about kitchen. I don't know not even how to hold a knife. So, but yeah, Kensington is really good at balancing personal life and work wise. Funny story for me, it is, I don't know if you guys already know, but I just had a baby. Well, not me, my girlfriend had a baby about a month ago. And so I talked to my ED, and then, I told him, he was really nice and he was really understanding. He told me to take as much time as I can and I want, after having the baby, because it's, as Quinn should know, it's sleepless nights, sleepless time without eating, and it's really stressful and really tiring for both mom and dad. So he's really good at understanding, personal life. And I'm really grateful to have him, as my executive director. And Harris knows that he's a wonderful man. He will, even though if you say no to him, or he tries to kind of say, just go. He's like, just go, I'll help you. Or, I'm trying to find a way to help you guys, finish your job, or whatever you guys have to do, just take care of it. He is really understandable with everything that we go through, because he understands that we are also human beings and we have emotions, we have personal problems, or, whatever life throws at us, he knows that we should handle it first, and then work comes after, even though we spend most of our times at Kensington. I'm pretty sure you guys can understand with that as well. But he prioritized family. He knows that family comes first, and then work comes after.
That's an inspiring story, Ricardo. Number one, congratulations on your new baby.
Thank you.
And I think that really speaks to what we shared openly this evening, is that we're all searching for culture. We're wanting to be places where we can feel loved, feel supported. There's a saying that I just want to be seen, right? I think that every human being today wants to be seen. And if we can be seen at work, as you said, Ricardo, that as a human, someone has a full life outside of work, and be supported in that. I don't think there's any place that we would ever want to be is outside of a culture like that. So thank you for walking us through how that works for you. And I'm sorry that your girlfriend, your baby don't get a chance to know about the fact that you cook. And because I won't share the secret, but that's really cool. You go, no, I don't know how to carry a knife. And no, that recipe, have no idea.
I just eat at home, it's personal.
So Caroline, I'm sure a lot of people would love to know the answer to this. Seniors, what's special about working with seniors, and what do you enjoy most about that?
Oh my gosh, where to start? With seniors, I think I have a really, really cool advantage having the music background, because I think one of the things that's been in a lot of newer studies is that music is actually stored in several different parts of the brain than some of your typical memories are. So with seniors, especially as, a person in memory care, it gives me the chance to communicate almost through music in a way that a lot of our residents can't anymore. So music gives me that chance to, like you were talking about with the love songs, that will trigger a memory for them that maybe just having a typical conversation with someone they couldn't really remember. And a really big blessing, one of my favorite parts of this job is being able to kind of be the translator for families and the residents. So being able to do music with them all together. So in music therapy sessions, we invite family members to join in. And that it is just such a beautiful moment to see, a resident share with their child or their grandchild or whoever, something that they remember that the family members said, might think, oh, I didn't realize that you knew that still, or that you remembered this about that. And I remember that too. And that was such a good time. So it's such a beautiful thing. And I feel really, really grateful to kind of be in that position.
Caroline, you just made me feel, I think there's nothing like that, is there?
No, not one other thing. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's so unique.
No. And maybe when there's an opportunity for a daughter or a son of a parent who's having this experience with decline, and then you have that lucid moment where they connect, where they haven't maybe for years had a chance to actually meet in that place.
Yes. Yeah. It's such a blessing to be able to be part of some of those good moments.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Harris, seniors, I mean, you're a young guy, handsome young guy, all this awesome energy. And I think a lot of people would say, what's he doing there? I mean, gosh, and I don't mean that. You know how I mean that. You're a young person, and here you are working with seniors. What is it about seniors that brought you in? Because I think there's a lot of young people who are looking for meaningful work, a career opportunity that fills their heart. And look at you here.
Yeah, it's basically just echoing what you just said. It gives me something to look forward to, do all day. I knew I wanted to do something that was fulfilling and supportive to the community. And I feel that Kensington really builds that foundation for support, and not just for the residents, but their family members and the community around them, connecting with the community, with the local high school or a hospital to do something, that's beneficial for everybody. And I really enjoy being part of that foundation and providing that support for anyone who needs it, whether it's answering a phone call or setting up a, FaceTime, or just listening to a resident talk about their day and ask them, what did you enjoy about breakfast? How much sugar do you like in your coffee? Or, just learning little things about them so that the next time that I see them or their family member, that I can share that with them, and I can be a sense of comfort for the people that, I'm serving. And it's very fulfilling for me.
So Harris, you made me think of a couple things. Number one, I just want to say, for young people. And right now, young people, it's interesting. The research talks about how one of the most stressful windows right now is young people between the ages of 18 and 33 in relationship to work. You're that person. What
Yeah.
quality do you want to share with people watching tonight that you say, if this is something you're looking for, if this is a quality that you have, you can parlay this into a career at Kensington? I know it's not a question that we talked about, but you've got this heart of service. What would that quality be? You could tell the people, your brothers and sisters in your age group, oh, if you know how to do this or you like this, you're going to love Kensington.
Yeah. For me, it's sharing my knowledge and sharing what it is I know and my experience to others so that they can relate and so that they can also learn something and hopefully do something with that information. I really enjoy learning about our residents and their backgrounds and different situations so that I can then know how to help them better for the next time.
That is awesome. Guess what? The Harvard Business Review did a study on your age group, and I say that like I'm your dad. Well, I could be your dad. Here's what they said. Number one quality that employers are looking for today: curiosity. Interesting. You just basically gave the perfect definition: being curious, asking questions, wanting to have more knowledge, sharing knowledge. So you just gave, again, another beautiful synopsis of the research of what brings fulfillment and what people are looking for who are hiring today: curiosity. So well done, Harris.
Thank you.
So Quinn, quickly, I'd love to know, and we keep on coming back to you about this, but I mean, you're a mom, you're a professional. What advice would you give to people who are, maybe circling around senior living and going, I don't know if this is for me. I'm a mom, I'm this, I'm that. What would you say to that person? Like, you know what? You're going to love this because.
I would say, first off, I mean, look at us, all of us that are talking, we all have different backgrounds, but we're here at the Kensington, and obviously there's a reason that has brought us here. It's the enjoyment that we get of being around our residents. So I would say I don't feel like there's one thing that you need to do. You don't have to be a care partner. You don't have to be a nurse. You don't have to have a degree in a certain thing. Come in, try it out, see what it's like, because the environment that the Kensington has is probably one of the most positive and uplifting and just exciting environments that I've been in, just in general. Because you walk into a Kensington, it's just, there's something going on in every corner. Even now, I would say with COVID, we're finally getting back to that thriving, like, little pockets of things happening in every little corner of the community. And that's exciting to be able to be involved in something like that, to make sure that the residents who are living here still have that quality of life and have the enjoyment that they can until they pass or they move out, whatever it may be.
Quinn, one more thing. I just want to ask you this because you spurred this listening to you. You have a great professional background, a lot of education. What's the most surprising thing you've learned about yourself that you didn't expect to learn?
Gosh, I don't know. I think probably the biggest thing is just I really like listening. I like listening to everybody's stories because I feel like we have such a diverse, not just resident group, but team member group. So to listen to everybody's stories and hear and learn about everyone, I think that's probably the biggest thing I've learned about myself, is just being able to be like Harris said, being curious. I think that's it.
That's perfect. That is perfect. I love how that's gonna, I think everyone probably would say, oh my gosh, I'm becoming a listener. Like, I get a chance to actually hear stories. I mean, vulnerability, right? It's the birthplace of humanity. It's the birthplace of common humanity. So we hear stories, we learn about people, we get that connection. It always happens through stories.
Yes.
It always.
Absolutely. And and I think another thing is that sharing your story with the residents as well, allowing them into your life. And that's encouraged here. Like, they want you to build that connection. And so I have assisted living residents who still ask me about my kids. Oh, the last time I saw them, they were, they were this little. What's their age now? And when I tell them, they're like, oh my gosh, they're getting to be big. So so they're part of your life. They're part of everything that's going on.
That's so beautiful. I love that. Thank you.
Yes.
Ricardo, same question, but for you, just a little bit different. So someone's considering senior living. They didn't see them like you. My gosh, like you're there helping a friend. And all of a sudden, 7 years later, you are part of the fabric of the community. What would you say to someone who's kind of circling around Kensington and wondering, I don't know if this is right for me, but maybe I should give this a try?
I have a saying, and even in my life, I said, don't knock it until you try it. It applies in everything, every scenario, sports, movies, food. I would just say to those people that are looking for a job or a new career, we're a big family. I integrate everybody, as Quinn said, we have diverse residents, diverse team members, and always be patient with everybody and, be patient. I think that's the key word in our job, that everybody has to be, and not as a new hire, don't say, oh, I can't do this and I won't do this, or, don't be close-minded. Always look forward for a new day or for a new experience, and you will survive.
Ricardo, that when we think about longevity and we think about career and we think about fulfillment, it's interesting, everyone, just to maybe take a moment and consider the Okinawans are known for having the greatest longevity in the entire world. They have the greatest amount of centenarians, people who make it to 100 years. Interesting enough, in their vocabulary, in their language, they don't have a word for retirement. Interesting. There's no word for retirement for the Okinawans. They don't retire. They continually evolve into the next experience of being a student of life. And I think listening to Mary's story about her family and what she's done here at Kensington, and listening to Quinn and everyone, Ricardo, what you just shared is like, this is an opportunity to come in and be someone who goes, I don't need to know. I actually am stewarded to learn. I can be a student. I can try new things. So it leads me to ask you one more question, Ricardo. And I want to maybe just take this a little bit more personal. What has Kensington personally done for you, as for Ricardo, that isn't maybe necessarily about your career, but maybe about your heart, maybe something emotionally that you have been able to access because of what Kensington has given you?
I think one of the things that will be that not just with my team, but with the whole community, we became a big family. That's something that Greg, my executive director, has always told me. We're not just team members, we're a family. If someone goes through something personal, we always have to look out for them. And I'm pretty sure Harris can agree with that, because we see each other every day. We're a big family. If something is going on, we try to help each other out, not just work related, but even in our personal life. It's kind of like our values, we have to treat each other as family. That's what, at the end of the day, I think that's what it comes down to. We, as a family, we have ups and downs. We have good days, bad days, horrible days, but we always have to look the good way and see the bright of everything.
That's beautiful. Quinn, not to put you on the spot, but I'm going to. Tell me about something personal for you. I mean, I listen to your story and I think about, all the different hats that you've worn, mom hat, nurse hat, coordinator hat. What sort of transcends job description, or, I'll say the professional experience at Kensington and the personal thing that you go, oh my gosh, this is the thing that matters most?
I think it's probably the encouragement to build those relationships. It is building the relationships with your residents, your team members. It, I think, allows for a stronger bond, a better work environment, more communication. With the residents, it is, gosh, it's hard because you love them so much. Your team members, you want to help them as much as you can. So personal experience, I would just that's hard. That's really hard. I think the biggest thing is relationships.
Well, you had mentioned that in a way that I was thinking, this is just me, maybe just thinking about your life when you come home. I mean, what I know through my experience of working with this community, Ricardo talked about it. Everyone shared a little bit about patience and being present.
Yes.
When you leave Kensington for the day and you go home, and then children, family, do you find that that tool that you've honed so well at work has translated well into your family, patience, presence, being there?
I do, yes. I think especially because what we do is it's very rewarding, but it can be very difficult. And it can be tiring, but it's so rewarding that it teaches you a lot about the patience. You have to be patient, not just with others, but with yourself. You have to be willing to, you have to be present in what's being done. And especially when you're interacting with someone, because they can tell when you're not present, and the interaction is not going to go well.
Isn't that funny how our kids can tell as that too? Like, have you ever been right pretending to be a good mom? I know that I've definitely been the dad who, oh, no kidding, honey. Oh, honey. And they'll go, Dad, you have no idea what I just said. Have you had that experience as a mom?
Yes, unfortunately, yes, I have. I'll admit it.
I mean, I think all of us would head nod and go, oh my gosh, with friends, with loves. I mean, and it's really interesting. Everyone who's watching tonight, let's just think about this. The average person today is only present, they say, 49% of their life. Think about that. 49%. That means 51% of our life. Science suggests we're in future fear or we're in past regret. We're not present. And I think what I've learned through you and listening to you and being around Kensington these last few years, it teaches you one of the most powerful skills of life, which is being present. And interesting enough, being present has been shown the number one biomarker for helping us with mental health, our mental health. When we're present, we tend to be less depressed. We tend to have less anxiety. We tend to be more hopeful and more grateful when we're present. It's something that Kensington just kind of gives us just by virtue of the opportunity to work with our residents and the families that we serve. It's very powerful. Caroline, quick question for you. How has Kensington Senior Living supported you in a way professionally and personally that you're like, oh my gosh, this is something, I knew I had a great background in music therapy and that's what I'm trained to do so well. But personally, these are the things I didn't expect to have happen by virtue of being a part of Kensington.
Yeah. So professionally, I would say it has been so nice to work for a company that just invests in you as a person and wants to help you grow in the way that you want to grow. Even from Kensington Park, working with, Kate, Jesse, Iris, Mary, they have always, given me different opportunities that helped me to grow because I asked for it and because I wanted it and I wanted those opportunities. And that is what has helped me to grow, in the company, and also personally learning all of these different new skills that I can use at Kensington and at home.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, my big takeaway so far is that the four of you didn't necessarily see yourselves being here. There was probably some time in your life before you discovered Kensington that was not even on your radar. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yes.
And now you're 6 years, 5 years, 7 years. And I want to open up questions here in a moment, but the thing I hope everyone feels tonight is like, I'm speaking as a physician, I'm speaking as a dad, I'm speaking as someone who's trying to navigate the world, which is really hard right now. It's hard. What we know is that we just feel a sense of uncertainty, right? The world is very uncertain. And I think all of us are looking for more and more certainty. And I think we will find that the science, the understanding of what we know about career and career fulfillment always comes back to culture, where we feel a certainty of experience that leads us to greater purpose. That is something we see time and time again by the science, by the research. And I think Kensington, I've had the opportunity to work with companies like Google, Whole Foods, Zappos. I've worked with some really amazing companies in my career. But I want to let everyone know here tonight, I have never, ever experienced a culture like Kensington. Every person I've met that's part of this culture has discovered parts of themselves that they didn't see before they came to Kensington. Then all of a sudden they felt like, oh my gosh, I think this was divine orchestration. I never saw this coming. So, our first question just came in as I was speaking. All right, so this is for everyone. And I'll start with you, Quinn. What's the most unexpected thing that's happened to you here? You didn't see it coming, and oh my gosh, here it is.
Oh gosh. Most unexpected thing, I think, it goes back to the relationship. When I was the assisted living activities coordinator, there was a resident that was in the cinema every morning before we would get in. And every morning when I would come in, first person I would see would be that resident. I ended up getting a nickname, and most of the care partners that are in assisted living still call me that nickname, and the family ended up calling me that too. So it was, again, that relationship and just that bond that ended up coming from seeing that one resident first thing every morning.
That's perfect. Caroline, how about for you?
For me, I would say I did not expect to want to spend even more time with my coworkers outside of work. I have a couple friends, really close friends that I made here. And we have the same exact schedule, and we're off on Fridays and Saturdays. We've established Fridays as Friendship Fridays, and we always do some kind of fun thing together. I did not expect that after working a whole week with them that I'd want to still hang out with them, but I do.
That's very unexpected, right? So many times I think when I work, we're like, oh my gosh, I just need space. I'm ready to see them next week.
Yep.
Ricardo, how about for you, my friend? Most unexpected thing?
Let me start off by saying, Caroline, I'm off Friday and Saturdays too, so join me in. So this thing is, I think it's not a work-related thing, but once again, we go back to my ED. He loves to have bond time between our coworkers. So we started this, and Harris, you have joined us before. We do volleyball every other Thursday. And it started off, as a kind of to unstress ourselves. But now we just do it for fun. We had it yesterday with my chef. We're doing a culinary month appreciation. And we just started playing volleyball. You know, we were doing a little barbecue and we started playing volleyball, and then other EDs started, other department heads started showing up, and we just started playing volleyball. And now we're gonna go play volleyball tomorrow. So that's something, you know, like Quinn said, bonds, you know, we have to have a relationship between every coworker and every family member as well.
Beautiful. Thank you, Ricardo. Harris, how about for you, my friend? If you were to say, oh my gosh, I didn't see it coming, and this is one of the coolest things I have experienced so far here.
Yeah, for me, it was the unexpectedly feeling that intrinsic motivation to want to provide for our residents, whether I'm clocked in or not, and just going the extra mile for them, just so that they know that they have someone there that loves them and supports them and wants the best for them. And, you know, just going that extra mile for that resident, just to know that you brought an extra layer of comfort to their life and a sense of security.
Wow, I love that word intrinsic, right? And that word is so important, right? And I think for folks who are watching tonight, you know, basically what you just said, Harris, is that whole idea that you feel like there's something inside of you that's bigger than you, calling you to do something more. And, you know, when they talk about intrinsic motivation, it's spiritual. That's what it is. It's a calling. So thank you for answering the call. That's a beautiful answer. So now we're getting some more questions coming in. Noreen, who's written a question for us, says, this is for anyone who wants to answer this. What are some of the best activities to do to help residents to stay active and happy? Anyone want to answer that?
Can I start out by saying something? I'm sorry,
Sure.
Harris, if you want to go, you can go ahead.
Absolutely.
So every month we try, and this is a activity that started with one of our residents. She is really active and she wants to motivate everybody to do exercise. So every month we try to do a 60-lap marathon. And you can do a walkathon, you can do a marathon, you can sprint, you can do whatever, but she's the first one out. She hands you water, she gives you a little speech, and she wants everybody to come and participate. So that's one way of us, you know, staying active with our residents.
That's fabulous. I love it. Sounds like the part-time cheerleader, part-time coach, part-time inspirator.
Yes.
Anyone else? Thoughts, ideas around keeping people active and keeping them moving?
Yeah, if I can share for a moment, when I was doing activities in our Haven community, and we were, you know, in the thick of it with COVID and, you know, just kind of struggling to relearn what it meant to like be a community with each other. I wanted to bring that light at the end of the tunnel a little bit closer every time I worked, and I created a baking club for our residents, and it was just so amazing to see residents sitting with each other again, and, you know, of course, following, you know, COVID protocols. And it was just so amazing to do that week after week and do something different with them. And, you know, they're learning something, they're experiencing something, and at the end of it, we all get a sweet treat out of it. So it was just an awesome experience.
That's super cool. Quinn, Caroline, do you have any thoughts on this as well?
I think to go what Harris was saying, also with the baking, it triggers memories as well. So the sense, if they smell something, they may want to start thinking about it, maybe take them back to a moment in time of, you know, I remember this because of making chocolate chip cookies.
It's interesting, right? I mean, I think all of us who've you know, grew up where we came home from school and there was the smell of cookies, right? And all of a sudden, if you walk in, you know, I'm 59 years old. I walk into my house, I smell a certain smell. All of a sudden, I'm 7. All of a sudden, I'm 13, right? It just takes you right back. And we know that, I think it's the sense of smell is the most powerful sense that we have. Of all the cranial nerves, our sense of smell is the most powerful associated with memory. It's interesting. Yeah. How about that? We had another question, and maybe Caroline, you can jump on this question. It was, what do you think is one of the most unique ways that Kensington creates culture? I mean, everyone here tonight has been talking all about, loving their teammates and how the leadership here really supports growth. And, what I feel more than anything is, I was sharing earlier about how Harvard, they talk about something called neuroeconomics, which is basically what kind of companies are the ones that have the least amount of burnout. Interesting, a time that I think so many people are talking about burnout. And what is it, the number one thing that actually prevents burnout? They say it's high oxytocin cultures, which is literally what you've all been sharing tonight. Cultures of trust, cultures of connectivity, cultures where you feel you actually have autonomy and agency, all of those things. But Caroline, is there a thing that you can specifically say, I think Kensington does this better than anybody?
Sure. So I think one of the greatest things about Kensington is they really have their leadership team get super involved on the floor with all of the day-to-day stuff that's going on. So it's, I think in a lot of other companies, your executives or your higher up people are, kind of on another level. You don't see them around a lot. They're in their meetings, they're doing all of that. And while our people do have a lot of that stuff, they also make sure that they are just as involved, in the admin side of things as they are with their families and with the residents. And they make sure that their staff are good and that they have what they need, that they are being supported in the way that they need. Even our memory care director here, I mean, if we are kind of struggling on the floor, we need a little extra help that day, she is giving showers, she's on the floor, she's helping with whatever she can. And it's just a really nice thing to see.
That's powerful, Caroline. Thank you for sharing. Amy, who's with us tonight, thanks, Amy, for joining us. She just wrote in a really, I think, a powerful question for folks my age. She simply asked, are there opportunities at Kensington for people who you'd call someone who's maybe looking for a career change, second or third career, someone who's not, young like you, Harris, but someone who's, and I say that respectfully and lovingly, but someone who's maybe like my age, in their 50s, looking for an opportunity. Does Kensington have opportunities for someone like me and someone at my age? Anyone want to? Mary, feel free to. Mary, you're a leader here. So Mary, I'd love to have you kind of maybe chime in here, because that may be something you can totally share with people, given how many folks you've been stewarding since your time here. What do you think, Mary? Oh, all right. I guess I'm going to go to Quinn. Opportunities for people's second or third career. What do you think?
I would say yes. I am 43. I mean, this is, I would say, my first career. But absolutely, I think so.
And do you have folks that like on your team, you go, oh my gosh, they just, a person just came and joined my particular community, and that's a person who's James, like an old guy like you, 59.
The age diversity here is, I would say, so yeah.
Hello, Dr. James. I'm Susan. I'm the one that received the beautiful sandwich today. So welcome everybody. I just wanted to let everybody know that Mary's had a little technical glitch and her internet is out. But I am super excited to, first of all, thank everybody for sharing your hearts and sharing your experiences. And I'm an example that a second act career can absolutely start at Kensington. My father passed away from Alzheimer's about 6 months ago, but he lived at Kensington for almost 7 years. And I've known Ricardo for 7 years because Ricardo took care of my father for that time. And Harris did the same and always greeted my mother and made sure that, she received her tuna melt and her iced tea. So thank you so much for all of your support. And to let everybody know that joined us today, you'll be receiving a copy of the webinar. And please share it with friends and family. And if you have any questions for any of us at all, you can respond to that email and we will get back to you.
Oh, and Susan, I think also, don't we have for the first 25 registrants of tonight's seminar, we're going to send a book to one of my books. I'm going to sign the book. So for the first 25 people who joined us tonight, thank you. And we have a present for you, a gift for joining us. And Susan, thanks for coming in and saving the day. I would have been calling for Mary for hours and everybody going, I don't think Mary's here anymore. But so Susan, thank you. And I think that's something we are doing is correct, right?
That is something we are doing, and that is correct. So we will make sure that we get your addresses. We have your email, and you'll be receiving an email, and we'll let you know that we need your address, and we'll send you that book.
That's beautiful. Well, I want to just say to Quinn, Caroline, Harris, Ricardo, I want you to know that I feel humbled to have this time with you tonight. You really touched my heart. You give me hope. You give me hope. And I really just want you to know that I think everyone who had an opportunity to learn about Kensington through your hearts is what the world's looking for right now. We need demonstrations of hope. We need communities where we actually know that potentially people are watching and going, oh, I'm a person who just loves people. Now I found my place. That's Kensington. And I think the way that you all shared so openly and you were vulnerable and you came from your heart, you just touched everyone tonight the way you touch people at Kensington. So thank you for who you are. Thank you for loving out loud the way that you do. And thank you for touching me this evening and all of us. So on behalf of everyone here tonight, thank you for being you. And Susan, thank you for orchestrating all of us tonight, everyone who joined us. Much love, every blessing. Please take care and give Kensington a look. It is what you felt tonight. It's one of a kind, special, special place.
Thank you, Dr. James, and everyone have a safe evening. Thank you again.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.